Did you know there's a groundbreaking discovery about sleep apnea that has the potential to transform millions of lives, but is rarely discussed in traditional medical offices while you're here desperately trying to find a solution to your torturous nights of interrupted sleep? There's a simple, natural, and affordable approach that may be overlooked by the conventional healthcare system. More than 936 million people worldwide suffer from sleep apnea, and the vast majority have no idea that the solution may be much closer than they think. Imagine waking up in the morning, feeling like your body has been run over by a truck, even after 8 hours in bed. You open your heavy eyes, your throat is dry as paper, your head throbs with a dull ache that never seems to completely subside. You stagger to your feet, stumbling to the bathroom, staring in the mirror at a puffy face, deep dark circles that no concealer can hide, and wondering how you can feel so exhausted after a whole night of supposed rest. Your partner tells you once again about the terrifying sounds you made during the night, the long, silent pauses in your breathing that panicked you, the snoring so loud it even woke the neighbors. And you carry this guilt, this shame, this feeling that your own body is conspiring against you. But what revolts me most is discovering how many people are going through this unnecessarily. Recent studies show that a specific lifestyle change, something so simple you can implement today, has shown extraordinary results in cases of mild to moderate sleep apnea. We're talking about an approach that doesn't involve expensive machines, invasive surgeries, or medications with devastating side effects. And why isn't this widely publicized? Because there's not enough profit in simple, natural solutions. The medical industry generates billions of dollars annually from CPAP equipment, complex surgeries, and long-term treatments. CPAP machines cost between $1,000 and $5,000, not counting maintenance costs, replacement masks, and follow-up appointments that stretch for years. Surgeries like uvulopallatoplasty can cost tens of thousands of dollars, with success rates that vary dramatically and risks that many doctors prefer to downplay. So you can understand why a simple solution you can implement at home without significant costs doesn't get the attention it deserves. Consider your current situation. You've probably had appointments where the doctor, in 15 quick minutes, staring more at the computer screen than at your face, prescribed a CPAP machine as if it were the only viable option. Perhaps you've been discouraged from exploring alternatives, or perhaps you've never been informed that other possibilities exist. Some of you may have been using CPAP for years, resigned to a life connected to a machine every night, unaware that you could have a drastically different quality of life. The truth is, your body has an incredible ability to heal itself when you remove the obstacles that impede its natural functioning. Sleep apnea isn't just a matter of airway anatomy, as many professionals would have you believe. It's a multifactorial problem involving inflammation, body position, muscle tone, the quality of the air, breathe, and most importantly, something that directly affects all of these factors and is completely under your control. Whether you're watching this video at 3 a.m. because you can't sleep, or you're here because you woke up once again, feeling like you haven't gotten any rest all I want you to know that you don't have to accept this as your fate. There is real, tangible hope, and the solution may be simpler than you think. In the next 2 decades, I'll share with you not only what this revolutionary discovery represents, but also how you can start implementing it today. This isn't just another video promising impossible miracles. It's based on solid scientific evidence, peer-reviewed studies, and most importantly, the real-life experiences of thousands of people who have successfully transformed their nights and reclaimed their lives. Get ready to discover something that could completely change your perspective on sleep apnea and the options you truly have. If you've made it this far, it's because you're tired of waking up tired. You're exhausted from living in a body that seems to be constantly fighting against you. I want to invite you to join a community of people who have decided not to passively accept what they've been told about their health conditions. This channel exists to demystify information about sleep, share insights that may not reach you through traditional channels, and most importantly, to remind you that you have more control over your health than you think. By subscribing and turning on notifications, you'll join thousands of people taking control of their sleep health. You'll receive the most up-to-date information on alternative treatments, practical tips you can implement immediately, and inspiring stories of people who achieved extraordinary results with seemingly simple changes. Every subscription helps us reach more people who may be suffering in silence, thinking there are no alternatives beyond those offered by the traditional medical system. We're not here just to criticize conventional approaches, but to expand your range of options, so you can make informed decisions about your health, knowing all the possibilities available, not just those that are most profitable for the healthcare industry. You deserve to know that different paths exist, and you deserve the opportunity to explore them. Let's start by understanding why sleep apnea has become a silent epidemic, and why traditional solutions, while effective for some, don't address the underlying causes of the problem. Obstructive sleep apnea occurs when the throat muscles relax during sleep, allowing soft tissues to partially or completely block the airway. This cuts off oxygen flow to the brain, forcing you to wake briefly to resume breathing, even if you don't remember these micro-awakenings in the morning. But here's what's rarely discussed. Why are these muscles relaxing inappropriately? Why are the tissues inflamed to the point of obstructing the airways? And most importantly, why has this been happening at epidemic rates in recent decades? The answer lies in a fundamental shift in how we live, how we breathe, and how our bodies process oxygen. Imagine a construction worker, always physically active, who developed sleep apnea in his 40s. For months, he tried several CPAP masks, consulted different specialists, and even considered surgery. Then he discovered something that completely changed his life: nasal breathing. It seems too simple to be true, but studies show that people who breathe predominantly through their mouths during the day develop a dysfunctional breathing pattern that extends into sleep. Chronic mouth breathing causes a cascade of problems that directly contribute to sleep apnea. When you breathe through your mouth, especially during the day, you train your body to use a shallow, inefficient breathing pattern. Your respiratory muscles become sluggish, your tongue assumes an incorrect position, and your upper airway loses muscle tone. During sleep, this muscle weakness allows tissues to collapse more easily. Furthermore, mouth breathing dries out mucous membranes, increases airway inflammation, and alters the pH of saliva, creating a breeding ground for bacteria that can contribute to further inflammation and obstruction. It's a vicious cycle that continues night after night, progressively worsening your condition. The revolutionary discovery is the return of nasal breathing as a primary pattern, not just during exercise or specific moments, but as the predominant form of breathing throughout the day. Your nose is not just an olfactory organ, it's a sophisticated system for filtering, warming, humidifying, and regulating the air entering your lungs. When you breathe through your nose, you activate a series of physiological mechanisms that promote deeper, more restful sleep. Nitric oxide produced in the paranasal sinuses is a natural vasodilator that improves blood oxygenation and has antibacterial and antiviral properties. When you breathe through your mouth, you completely lose this benefit. Studies show that people who transition to predominantly nasal breathing often experience significant reductions in apnea episodes, especially in mild to moderate cases. But how do you make this transition? First, you need to understand that it can be a gradual process. Many people develop chronic nasal obstructions precisely because they don't use their nose properly. It's like a muscle that atrophies from lack of use. You can start with simple nasal breathing exercises during specific times of the day, gradually increasing until it becomes second nature. Imagine a person who suffered from moderate apnea and woke up 15 to 20 times an hour at night. After 3 months of consciously focusing on nasal breathing during the day and using specific techniques to keep her nose clear, her episodes decreased to less than 5 per hour. She described the transformation as finally being able to breathe properly. For the first time in years, it wasn't just her sleep that improved, but her daytime energy, her mental clarity, and even her digestion showed significant improvements. There are several techniques that can help with this transition. The first is simply becoming aware of how you're breathing right now. Stop for a moment and observe, is your mouth open or closed? Can you feel the air moving in and out of your nostrils, or are you primarily using your mouth? Most people are shocked to realize they've developed the habit of mouth breathing without even realizing it. For people with chronic nasal obstruction, there are natural methods that can help restore nasal function before even considering medical interventions. Regular saline irrigations, specific breathing techniques that exercise the nasal muscles, changes in sleeping position, and even adjustments to the humidity level can make surprising differences. I'm going to pause here because I need to know, are you breathing through your mouth right now? How often do you notice your mouth hanging open during the day, especially when you're concentrating or stressed? This may seem like a small detail, but it could be the key to understanding why your nights are so disturbed. If you've never noticed this before, I want you to write in the comments, "I discovered I'm a mouth breather," or "My mouth is always open without me realizing it." There's no shame in it. It's just the first step toward a change that can transform your life. Many people watching now spent years thinking there was no alternative but to accept the CPAP machine as their permanent companion. Others may be considering expensive and risky surgeries because they were led to believe it was the only option. Your comment may be exactly what someone needs to see to understand that they are not alone in this struggle and that there are different paths to explore. Let's create a community together where we share real discoveries without judgment, just mutual support on the journey to better nights. The second fundamental change involves your sleeping position and how it affects your breathing. Studies show that sleeping on your back can significantly increase apnea episodes as gravity causes the tongue and soft tissues of the throat to be pulled back, obstructing the airway. But it's not just about sleeping on your side, it's about creating an environment that naturally promotes the ideal position and keeps the airway open. Imagine a person who slept on his back for decades and constantly woke up suffocating, feeling like he was drowning in his own sleep. He tried several expensive devices to force him to sleep on his side, but none were comfortable enough to allow for truly restful sleep. Then he discovered a simple technique, slightly elevating the head of the bed and using a specific pillow positioning that naturally keeps the airway aligned, regardless of the position he ended up in during the night. Elevating the head of your bed by just 6 to 8 inches can significantly reduce apnea episodes. We're not talking about sleeping sitting up, but rather a gentle tilt that allows gravity to work in your favor, keeping your airways more open. Combined with pillows that adequately support your neck and keep your head in a neutral position, this simple change can have dramatic effects on your sleep quality. But there's another often overlooked factor: the air quality in your bedroom. Many people with sleep apnea have sensitivities to allergens that cause chronic inflammation of the upper airways. Dust mites, mold, animal dander, and even chemical cleaning products can contribute to nasal congestion and throat inflammation that aggravate your condition. Imagine a person who installed an air purifier in their bedroom, switched all their cleaning products to natural versions, and implemented a strict dust mite control protocol in their bed. Within 6 weeks, they reported a 40% reduction in apnea episodes simply because their airways were no longer constantly inflamed and irritated. The third change involves what you eat, and when you eat, especially in the hours before sleep. Foods that cause systemic inflammation can significantly worsen sleep apnea. Dairy, for example, can increase mucus production in sensitive individuals, contributing to airway obstruction. Refined sugar and processed foods can cause inflammation that also manifests in the upper respiratory tract. Even more important is the timing of meals. Eating large amounts of food in the 3 hours before bed can push the diaphragm upward, reducing the space available for the lungs to expand properly and putting additional pressure on the upper airways. This is especially problematic for people who are already prone to obstruction during sleep. Imagine a person who discovered that her worst apnea episodes occurred on nights when she ate late or consumed dairy late in the day. By adjusting her meal schedule and eliminating inflammatory foods, she was able to drastically reduce the frequency and intensity of her nocturnal episodes. She described it as finally understanding what my body had been trying to tell me for years. The fourth fundamental change is related to body weight, but not in the way you've probably heard. It's not just about losing weight to reduce airway pressure, although that's important. It's about understanding how body fat distribution, especially around the neck and face, directly affects your ability to keep your airway open during sleep. Studies show that even modest weight loss, especially when focused on the neck and upper torso, can have disproportionately positive effects on sleep apnea. But here's what's often overlooked. The type of exercise you do can be just as important as the weight loss itself. Exercises that specifically strengthen the muscles of the throat, tongue, and upper airway can significantly reduce apnea episodes. These are muscles we rarely consciously exercise, but which play a crucial role in keeping the airway open during sleep. Specific oropharyngeal strengthening techniques have shown impressive results in clinical studies. Imagine a person who incorporated 10 minutes of specific throat muscle exercises into their daily routine. Simple exercises like pressing the tongue against the roof of the mouth, gargling for long periods, and specific breathing techniques that exercise the muscles of the upper airway. Within 3 months, their apnea episodes decreased by more than 50%, and they reported waking up with much more energy and mental clarity. The fifth change involves managing stress and improving the quality of your REM sleep. Chronic stress increases systemic inflammation and can directly interfere with normal sleep patterns, worsening apnea. More importantly, stress affects daytime breathing, perpetuating dysfunctional patterns that extend into the night. Specific relaxation techniques practiced consistently before bed can significantly reduce the frequency of apnea episodes. We're not talking about complex meditation, but simple protocols you can learn and implement immediately. Diaphragmatic breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, and specific sleep preparation techniques can transform not only the quality of your sleep, but also your overall health. Imagine a person who implemented a 20-minute bedtime routine focused on specific breathing and relaxation techniques. He found that not only did his sleep apnea episodes decrease, but his blood pressure, which had been elevated for years, also began to normalize. His doctor was so impressed with the improvements that he significantly reduced his hypertension medications. If you're finding this information helpful and recognizing patterns in your own life, please comment below. Each comment helps me understand what resonates most with you and allows me to create content even more tailored to your needs. Plus, other viewers can see that they're not alone in their struggles and discoveries. The sixth fundamental change involves adequate hydration, but with specific timing. Many people with sleep apnea avoid drinking water before bed for fear of waking up during the night to urinate. However, dehydration can make airway secretions thicker and stickier, contributing to obstruction. The key is to stay adequately hydrated during the day and adjust the timing of fluid intake at night. Even more important is the type of fluids you consume. Drinks that cause inflammation or increase mucus production can significantly aggravate your condition. Alcohol, for example, not only excessively relaxes the throat muscles, but also interferes with normal REM sleep patterns, worsening apnea. Imagine a person who discovered that their worst sleep apnea nights always coincided with days when they consumed alcohol, even if it was just a glass of wine with dinner. By completely eliminating alcohol and adjusting their hydration patterns, they experienced a dramatic improvement in sleep quality and a significant reduction in sleep apnea episodes. The seventh change involves the temperature and humidity of your sleeping environment. Air that's too dry can irritate the airways and increase inflammation, while excessive humidity can promote the growth of mold and dust mites. Finding the ideal balance can make a surprising difference in your sleep quality. Temperature is also crucial. Your body naturally lowers its core temperature to initiate sleep, but if the environment is too warm, this process can be disrupted, affecting sleep quality and potentially worsening apnea. The ideal temperature for most people is between 18 and 21 degrees Celsius. Imagine someone who invested in a quality humidifier and adjusted their bedroom temperature to the ideal range. They reported that not only did their apnea episodes decrease, but they also stopped waking up with a dry, irritated throat, a symptom that had bothered them for years. The eighth fundamental change is related to specific supplementation that can reduce airway inflammation and improve muscle tone. Magnesium, for example, is crucial for proper muscle relaxation, and many people are deficient in this essential mineral. Vitamin D has anti-inflammatory properties, and its deficiency is correlated with poorer sleep quality. High-quality omega-3s can significantly reduce systemic inflammation, including upper airway inflammation. Specific probiotics can improve gut health, which is directly linked to systemic inflammation and sleep quality. Imagine a person who, after specific testing, discovered deficiencies in vitamin D and magnesium. By correcting these deficiencies with appropriate supplementation, they experienced not only an improvement in their sleep apnea, but also significantly increased their daytime energy levels and improved their ability to cope with stress. Now, I want to address something that might be on your mind. Why hasn't your doctor ever mentioned these approaches? The reality is that traditional medical education focuses primarily on the diagnosis and treatment of already established diseases, not necessarily on prevention or integrative approaches that address root causes. Furthermore, medical appointments are typically short, focused on prescribing quick solutions for immediate symptoms. Exploring lifestyle changes requires time, patience, and follow-up care that the current healthcare system is not structured to adequately provide. This doesn't mean you should abandon medical care altogether. It means you can and should be an active participant in your own health, exploring complementary approaches that address the underlying causes of your problems, not just the symptoms. It's important to understand that these changes work best when implemented gradually and consistently. Trying to do everything at once can be overwhelming and counterproductive. Start with one or two changes that make the most sense for your specific situation, implement them for a few weeks until they become second nature, and then gradually add others. Monitor your results. Keep a simple sleep diary where you record not only how many hours you slept, but also how you felt upon waking, your energy levels during the day, and any changes you notice. This will not only help you identify which changes are having the most impact, but it will also provide valuable information if you decide to work with a healthcare professional. Imagine a person who implemented these changes gradually over 6 months. She started by focusing on nasal breathing during the day, then adjusted her sleeping position and bedroom environment, then modified her diet and meal times, and finally incorporated specific exercises and relaxation techniques. By the end of the 6 months, her apnea episodes had decreased by 80%, and she described her quality of life as completely transformed. She said, "For the first time in years, I wake up feeling truly rested. I have the energy to play with my kids. I can focus on work, and most importantly, I no longer live in fear of sleep. I've discovered that my body has an incredible ability to heal itself when I remove obstacles and give it the right conditions. The truth is, your body wants to sleep well. It wants to breathe properly, It wants to recover during the night and wake up refreshed. Sleep apnea is often a sign that something in your lifestyle is interfering with these natural processes. By identifying and addressing these interferences, you can often restore healthy sleep patterns without relying solely on medical interventions. This doesn't mean that devices like CPAP don't have their place. For some people, especially those with severe apnea or certain specific anatomical conditions, these devices can be essential. But even in these cases, implementing the changes we've discussed can significantly improve treatment effectiveness and overall quality of life. The most important thing is that you understand that you have options, that you don't have to passively accept a life of fragmented sleep, chronic exhaustion, and dependence on expensive equipment. That your body has an extraordinary ability to adapt and heal itself when you provide the right conditions. Remember that real change takes time. Don't expect miraculous results overnight. But also don't underestimate the cumulative power of small, consistent changes. Each night of slightly better sleep adds up. Each day with a little more energy builds on the last. Each week, implementing a new, healthy strategy brings you closer to real, lasting transformation. If you've made it this far, it's because you're serious about transforming your sleep quality and reclaiming your life. The information I've shared isn't abstract theories. It's practical strategies based on solid scientific evidence and the experience of thousands of people who have achieved real results. Sleep apnea doesn't have to define your life. You don't have to accept torturous nights, exhausted days, and the constant worry about the long-term effects on your health. There is real, tangible hope, and the power to change is in your hands. Start today. Choose one of these strategies that resonates most with you and implement it consistently. Monitor your results. Be patient with the process, but be persistent in the implementation. Your future self will thank you for every small step you take today toward better nights and more vibrant days. If you found this content helpful, please like the video and share it with someone you know who's struggling with sleep issues. Your action could be just what someone needs to discover that there are alternatives and that they're not alone. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as we'll continue exploring practical strategies to improve your sleep health, demystify information about sleep-related conditions, and share insights that may not reach you through traditional channels. Let us know in the comments which of these strategies you'll implement first, or if you've already tried any of them. Your experience can inspire and help others watching. Together, we can create a supportive community where no one has to suffer in silence with sleep problems. In the next video, we'll dive even deeper into specific breathing techniques that can transform not only your sleep quality, but your overall health. Until then, sleep well, and remember you have more control over your health than you think.